Fresh U.S.-led coalition airstrikes in Syria have killed 16 civilians, including at least 7 children. According to the UK-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, the attack took place in an area where clashes were underway between Kurdish forces and Daesh terrorists in Dayr-al-Zawr province. The Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces are battling the Takfiri group in Dayr-al-Zawr province. The U.S. has stepped up its airstrikes on Syria. The attacks have killed a large number of civilians. Washington says some 1,000 civilians have been killed as a result of its airstrikes, but monitoring groups say the figure is much larger. To discuss that more, we're joined by our correspondent Muhammad Ali, who is joining us live from Damascus. Thank you very much, Muhammad Ali, as always, for keeping a close watch on the latest developments in Syria and keeping us up to date. Now, if you could please add more to what we already know about the fresh U.S.-led coalition airstrikes in Syria, if you have any extra information.
Yes, according to local sources inside the Dayr-al-Zawr countryside, the U.S.-led coalition carried out a fresh airstrike, killing at least 16 civilians, among them 7 children in an area a village called Al-Baghouz, which is about 110 kilometers to the southeast of Dayr-al-Zawr city itself, and just about 6 kilometers away from the borderline between Syria and Iraq. Of course, this U.S.-led coalition strike comes as the U.S.-backed SDF, so-called Syria's Democratic Forces, have started a military operation against the remaining Daesh terrorists, which are estimated about 600 terrorists in that area around Al-Baghouz and Hajin and Al-Shafi, all of those villages. This military operation started on Saturday. However, even though before, every week there is an airstrike by the U.S.-led coalition, and there are always civilians being killed. Dozens of civilians have been killed in that particular area. The infrastructure has been destroyed. The people's houses are also being targeted by the U.S.-led coalition, according to local forces, and many are actually also being displaced, running away, fearing that the next strike could be targeting them. So this is not a first kind of strike by the U.S.-led coalition, which is killing more and more civilians in that area, but it is expected, according to experts, that the U.S.-led coalition could step up such airstrikes in parallel with the military operation on the ground by
Okay, it seems that there are some technical difficulties there in our connection with our correspondent.
I can hear you clearly.
Okay, so Muhammad Ali, we lost your voice for a short while. If you could please repeat the last part of the updates that you were giving us.
Yes, I was saying the U.S.-led coalition carried out a fresh airstrike against a village called Al-Baghouz in the southeastern countryside of Dayr-al-Zawr, killing at least 16 civilians, among them 7 children. The area is about 110 kilometers to the southeast of Dayr-al-Zawr and about 6 kilometers away from the borderline between Syria and Iraq. It's not the first time that civilians are being killed, but this airstrike comes in parallel with the military operation carried out by the U.S.-backed so-called Syria's Democratic Forces, which started Saturday in order to eliminate the remaining about 600 terrorists of Daesh in that area. But every couple of days, there is an airstrike by the U.S.-led coalition since the formation of this coalition in 2014, and there are always civilians being killed, dozens over there in that part of Syria, in eastern Syria, and also the infrastructure is being damaged, people's houses are being destroyed, and many are also being displaced as a result. But many experts are also considering and expecting that such U.S.-led coalition airstrikes will be increasing nowadays, especially that it's coming in parallel with this military operation carried out by the SDF on the ground.
Thank you very much. Our correspondent Muhammad Ali, as always, giving us the latest updates from Damascus.